everyone, my name is Rachel. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am really excited to bring you guys this book tag video. This is the stay-at-home book tag. This was originally created by Princess of Paperback. I will link her channel up in the cards above. I actually just recently discovered her channel and have really been enjoying her videos. So when I saw that she created this tag, I knew that I wanted to do it myself. She essentially came up with different prompts having to do with different activities that we've all been doing now that we're all staying at home. Without further ado, let's just get into the book. So the first prompt is laying in bed, a book you read in a day. And I was going to go with a more recent read, but I decided instead to go back to a book that I read back in 2018 before I even started this booktube channel, and that is Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. This is a book that I can vividly remember reading because I checked it out of my library and I literally read it in like a 12-hour period when I was going on an audition trip to Dallas. So what I was doing was I flew out to Dallas that morning, did my audition, went back to the airport for a few hours, and then flew back home to New Orleans. And so I was spending a lot of time on planes, in airports, so I definitely had a lot of time to get reading done. And this book is absolutely incredible. I know a lot of booktubers talk about this book a lot. So this is about Mara and Owen. They are fraternal twins, and Mara is best friends with this girl Hannah, who is also Owen's girlfriend. And they essentially go to this party one night. They're all teenagers in high school, and Hannah accuses Owen of raping her. And so that is essentially what this book is all about, what it's all centered around. And it's such an interesting book because we're looking at these two very different points of view, and Mara of course is stuck in the middle of both of them because Mara of course wants to believe Hannah, and you know, you always want to believe the survivor in this kind of situation, but also she knows Owen really well. You know, Owen is her twin brother and she really believes that he would never do something like this, and it's just so crazy. But this book is so well done. I need Ashley Herring Blake to come out with another book really soon because this was so phenomenal, and I know that I want to read more YA from her. I know she also writes a lot of middle grade, so I might have to check out those books as well. Yeah, I could talk about this book forever, but I just wholeheartedly recommend that you read this if you haven't yet. Next prompt is snacking, a guilty pleasure book. And for this one, I actually decided to go with a whole trilogy. This is the Naughty Princess Club series by Tara Civic. The first book I'm gonna put over here is At the Stroke of Midnight. So this is an adult romance series that are retellings of classic Disney princess stories that we all know and love. As you can tell from this cover, this one is a retelling of Cinderella. This book, her name is Cynthia, I believe, but she goes by Cindy. And then there's Isabel, and you can guess what character she is. She's like the Belle character. And then we have Ariel, who is like Ariel from The Little Mermaid. And so the three of them end up meeting because all three of them have definitely come to really hard times financially in their life. So they decide to open up their own stripping business so that they can go entertain at like birthday parties, bachelorette parties, things like that. And the reason why it's a guilty pleasure series for me is because these books are a bit trashy, like I'm not gonna lie to you, and Tara Civic's writing style is pretty ridiculous at times. But I just had so much fun reading these that I am not ashamed of it. I wholeheartedly recommend these books. I gave all three of them 5 stars. Side note, I also gave Girl Made of Stars 5 stars. Romances in these books are really fun and cute, and there's also some smutty delights thrown in, which is really fun. Yeah, definitely check out these books if this premise interests you at all. I don't think they were very expensive on Amazon, and I did also find all of the audiobooks on Hoopla. Next prompt is Netflix, series you want to start. So a series that I am going to binge the entirety of next month is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. This is another series that I'm a little mad that it's taken me this long to get to, but I have so many different fantasy and dystopian series on my physical TBR that it's a bit overwhelming. This is a series that I've heard nothing but amazing things about, and it's an adult fantasy series by Victoria Schwab, but her adult novel, she goes by V.E. Schwab. It's about 4 different Londons. There is a gray London, which is dirty and boring without any magic. There is Red London, where life and magic are revered. White London, a city slowly being drained through magical war. And Black London, that no one speaks about. Our main character, it looks like, is Kel. He's a red traveler, one of the last magicians who can travel between the worlds, acting as ambassador and messenger between the Londons in service of the Marish Empire. This just sounds absolutely iconic. I was able to also find the audiobooks for most of the books in this trilogy trilogy, and I think I'm also gonna film like a binge reading vlog for this as well. I have a feeling that there's going to be quite a few things in these books that I'm going to want to discuss with you guys. Next prompt is Deep Clean, a book that has been on your TBR for ages, and I decided to go with a book that's been on my physical shelves for a very long time that I still haven't read, and that is Under Rose-Tainted Skies by Louise Gornal. And this is a book that I bought because Emma from Emma Books, I will link her booktube channel up in the cards above. She's actually the very first booktuber that I ever watched, and I was absolutely obsessed with her videos. It's a book that she talked about for having really good mental health representation, so I'm gonna read the prompt on the back. And it says, Nora knows fearing everything from inland tsunamis to odd numbers is irrational, but she can't stop being afraid. She's even scared of her cute new neighbor, Luke, but she's intrigued by him too. Despite the fears that keep her housebound, Nora begins a tentative friendship with Luke. Soon she doesn't know what frightens her more, the chance that they might fall in love or the possibility that they shouldn't. So that sounds really, really great. I need to get to this as soon as possible. It's just another book that has kind of taken a backseat on my TBR. Next is Animal Crossing, a book you bought recently because of hype. Now, this book that I want to talk about is definitely not my most recent purchase, but I can tell you that the sole reason I bought this was because it has so much hype surrounding it, and that is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. This is essentially a YA science fiction novel. It's actually a series. The second book is already out, but so many people on BookTube have raved specifically about this very first book and given it 5 stars, and the premise did sound really interesting to me, so I'm gonna read the inside cover a little bit. It says, Spence's world has been under attack for decades. Now pilots are the heroes of what's left of the human race, and becoming one has always been Spence's dream. Since she was a little girl, she has imagined soaring skyward and proving her bravery, but her fate is intertwined with her father's, a pilot himself who was killed years ago when he abruptly deserted his team, leaving Spencer the daughter of a coward. Her chances of attending flight school slim to none. But yeah, so many people have raved about this, and it does sound like something I'm going to really enjoy. Brandon Sanderson is also an author that he is very well known for writing a lot of adult fantasy novels, and a lot of people recommend his books all the time. So if I do enjoy this book and the sequel, I might have to explore some of his other books as well. And the next prompt is Productivity, book you learned from or that had an impact on you. And the most recent book that I can think of for this is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. So this is kind of a women's fiction slash romance novel. There's definitely 2 very prominent plot lines going on. So we have Calla, who has been living in Toronto essentially all of her life, but when she was like 2 years old, her mom moved the both of them from their little town in Alaska where they were living with her mother's husband slash Calla's father to go back to Toronto. And so ever since then, Calla has had pretty much like no relationship with her father, Ren. They've kind of talked on the phone over the years, but in recent years, they have stopped communication completely because Ren is really bad about communication. He's really bad about calling her back. And so yeah, they haven't spoken in a few years. And so Calla randomly gets a call from one of Ren's friends. She essentially tells Calla that Ren's days may be numbered, and so she convinces Calla to come out to Alaska to try to form an actual relationship with her father. And what I loved about this book was the familial relationships. By the end of the book, they are actually really close, and I just love that so much. I cried so many times reading this book because it was just such a powerful story. There are definitely things about her relationship with her father that hit really close to home for me personally. There's also a romance in this with this guy Jonah who works with Calla's father. I didn't love that romance, to be quite honest, because Jonah's kind of an asshole the whole time. I kind of ranted about him in my wrap-up where I talked about this book. I think it was my March mid-month wrap-up, so I'll also link that up in the cards above. I do definitely recommend this if you're looking for a romance that also has a very strong emotional familial relationship as well. The next prompt is Facetime, a book you were gifted. And to be honest, most, if not pretty much all the books I own are books that I buy myself because people will just buy me Amazon gift cards and then I spend them on books, so love that for me. But the one book that I was gifted kind of recently was from my sister Kimberly, and this is Everything I Need to Know I Learned from a Disney Little Golden Book, and this is what it looks like. And I'll show you guys some of the illustrations because I think that this book is just so cute. There's just pictures from different Pixar and Disney movies. This is essentially just a really cute picture book for adults. It definitely would recommend this as a gift if you're looking for something to buy someone who loves reading just as much as I do. I wholeheartedly recommend this. I think that this is just adorable, and I'm just really glad to have this in my collection. Then we have self-care, something you've been doing to take care of yourself. And for this one, I actually have two things I want to talk about. One is that I have been making a point of going outside and sitting out in my backyard with my mom and our dog Chloe for at least 20 to 30 minutes every day, because it is really important to get that vitamin D, get some sunshine every day. And it's been really fun to also read outdoors and kind of meditate while sitting out there. And another thing that I've been doing is FaceTiming with a lot of my friends. So weird that it has only just now occurred to me to FaceTime all of these people in my life that are so important to me, because I could have been doing this even before the COVID-19 craziness happened, but it's something that for some reason has never really crossed my mind. But I'm so glad that I'm doing this now. It's just been so great reconnecting with friends that I've made the last few years. Definitely something I recommend you guys doing if you haven't yet, because it's a great way to stay connected to the people that are important to you. Even though we can't really hug each other right now, I definitely really miss getting hugs from my friends and family, but that's not really possible right now, and so FaceTime is kind of the next best thing. Then we have a bonus prompt. This is a book that's coming out soon that you're excited about, and this is a really easy one for me. That is going to be The Bride Bet by Tessa Dare. Tessa Dare is one of my absolute favorite authors ever. She writes historical romance, and this is the fourth and final book in her Girl Meets Duke series. And the first book in this series is called The Duchess Deal. This is a book that I always recommend to someone who has never read historical romance before, or if they've never read a Tessa Dare novel before, this is always the book that I point them to. I think it's still ultimately my favorite of the series so far. This one has to do with a scarred hero who's the Duke of Ashbury. He goes by Ash, and then Emma, who is a seamstress. And her books are so funny, but the romances are also really amazing. And I could just gush about her books forever, but yeah, The Bride Bet is the last book in this series, which is a little sad because I love these characters so much, and I'm really excited to get Nicola's story, but at the same time, I don't want this series to be over. This is coming out, I think, August 25th, and I definitely pre-ordered it like months ago. I cannot wait to have this in my personal collection, and I will definitely be reading it as soon as it comes out. Okay guys, that's going to be it for this stay-at-home book tag. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that you would consider pressing that like button and subscribing, and I thank you if you do. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!